Hello everybody. Welcome to IELTS Pro. I'm Anand Fernando. Today, I'm going to talk to you about IELTS Writing Task 1, General Training. In the general paper, Task 1 is writing a letter. In this video, I'll tell you some important tips and an easy approach to writing a letter. I will present you the kinds of letters we get in the paper and how to structure your essay. Also, how to build up the content and the tips to improve your score. First of all, let me tell you that there are three types of letters. They are informal, that is when you're writing to your family or friends. Semi-formal, if you're writing to a colleague, which means that somebody who is at work, including your boss. Then the formal, when you are writing to an authority or an organization, an outside company, then in that case, it will be considered as a formal letter. The differences in these letters are the salutation, how you start the letter. Then also the level of formality, that is the kind of words that we use. And then finally the ending, the specific words that we can use when it comes to the ending. Those are the areas we have to be concerned when it comes to the type of letter. The difference in these letters is mainly the degree of formality, mainly the beginning and the end. So when you say degree of formality, the salutation, if it is informal, we use hi, dear, first name and the nickname. Or semi-formal, we use dear and only the first name. Formal, we use dear Mr. or Mrs. if we know the name of the person, but that would be the surname. Or else, if we do not know the name, then we use dear sir or madam. Then the level of formality when it comes to the ending, informal letters we can end as lots of love, good luck, etc. And then the semi-formal, we can go for best regards, kind regards, that type of a ending. Formal letters, there are two different approaches. If you are starting the letter as dear sir or madam, then it has to be yours faithfully. But if you are starting the letter dear Mr. Mrs. and the surname, then your ending should be yours sincerely. Now, let's get familiar with the structure. First of all, that you have to have an opening statement. That's where we communicate why we are writing this letter. Of course, this will be after the salutation. And then after that, in the question, you are given 3 points that you have to include. The first point will be discussed in the first paragraph. Then you move on to the second paragraph and discuss the second point given in the question. Then the final point in the question will be discussed in the third paragraph. And then after that, you have to include an ending statement. That is what you want happen after this letter. That's what we include in the ending statement. Then finally, the closing. As you know, the closing should match your opening. That is how the salutation that indicated right at the beginning. Now, no need to write your address or the date. Salutation is always given. So that guide is given in the question itself. So that will be easy for you to decide which type of a letter is this. Now, the first tip is how to divide the time or how you should manage your time. You are given only 20 minutes. And out of that, spend about 2 minutes for planning. That is, what exactly are you planning to include under each point that which is indicated in the question. Then writing you do for about 15 minutes. When you are writing, do not bother about anything. Just go on writing, putting your thoughts, putting your ideas, putting your plan into words. Then final 3 minutes is the editing part. This part is quite important as this is the time that you will look into the letter and then recheck whether the words that which are used are appropriate, sentence structures are adequately high level, and whether you have included everything what is given in the question or what is asked in the question. Now, the other thing is the practice. The practice is what makes you perfect. So always do more and more practice writing different types of letters. Now let's look at some possible topics. Writing task 1 usually includes the following topics. Global social scenarios, that is day-to-day happenings in the social environment globally. Then employment related also, maybe work related, some things which happen in an organization. Then also education related, maybe the higher education, it may be that child education or something to that effect. Then if you're going on vacation, you may be writing to a friend and inviting them, etc. Then it could be sometimes a previous incident or how you spend your leisure time or including some other people into sports related and other types of issues which are normally happening in day-to-day life. So it's always something related to your day-to-day life. To make it clear, let's take a look at an informal letter task from Cambridge IELTS Book 18. Here it is. Your English-speaking friend has asked for your help with a college project she is doing about celebrating New Year in different countries. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, say how important New Year is to the people in your country. Describe how New Year is celebrated in your country. Explain what you like about New Year celebrations in your country. Begin your letter as follows. Dear. So this is an informal letter. So we can start with dear and maybe the first name or a nickname of your friend. That's how you start. You need to plan for all 3 points presented in the question. Visualize the given situation and generate ideas to make it interesting to the reader. That is very important. One important tip is don't try to include irrelevant ideas as you will get a lower mark if you do so. So very important point is make it very interesting to the reader. So the plan could be something like this. How important? Not the calendar year, but in April. How it is celebrated. December 31st, parties, firecrackers, religious, January 1st, milk rice, new clothes. In April, respect elders, auspicious times, kiribat and sweet meats, authentic games, visit relatives, last for several days. What I like about, I'll move on to remind about the values of respect, enjoy together, family bonds. So now you have jotted down few points as to what you will write under each of the points given in the question. So that's our plan. Now we need to pay attention to tenses and the grammar because that is something that they always looked into. This will include mainly rituals. So simple present is appropriate for that because these are things which are happening over and over again. Then talking about the past, you can use the simple past. Of course, bringing examples in simple past, you need to mention the time as well. So it should be always with the time. Then the actions which are still continuing, you can use present perfect continuous or some could be in present perfect. And need to use passive voice to enhance your grammar. So all these, if you can include, then in that case, you can target for a very good score. So that's how we have to manage tenses and grammar. Now that we have a plan, we can commence writing. First is the salutation, and then it is the opening statement. Opening statement can be a part of the first paragraph where you discuss your first point given in the question. Also, the important tip is you must include the purpose of the letter in the first sentence itself. Only in informal letters, you may include some pleasantries. However, at least in the first sentence or second sentence, you must include the purpose of your letter. Then you can continue the first paragraph. That is the point which is included in the question. Now, in this one, we have said, dear Astrid, maybe the name or a nickname, then the opening statement, and then the first point. That's how we start. Then, to build up our first paragraph, according to our planned points, let's consider the vocabulary we could use. If you're not familiar with any of these vocabulary, please look up a dictionary as it will make this video much longer if I have to explain each one. So for vocabulary, para 1, dawn of the year, commencement, turning a new leaf, important, significant, imperative, focal, crucial, difference, symbolize, unique, distinctive, dissimilar. These are some of the vocabulary we are going to include in our first paragraph. So, our first paragraph may look like this, but possibly you can do a better one with your own points. So, suggested paragraph 1, dear Aspirin. First of all, thank you for your letter, and I'm happy to enrich your assignment with my experiences. Yes, in this country, New Year celebrations are quite unique and invariably dissimilar to the Western world. Especially moving from one calendar year to another is not considered a quite a distinguishable event in Sri Lanka. This is because we have our own New Year celebrations in the month of April, which is called Sinhala and Hindu New Year. So that's our first suggested paragraph. Now we have to build up the second paragraph, referring to the next point in the question. Let's look at some possible vocabularies. Vocabulary for para 2. Celebrations, party, festivity, revelry, blast, gala, ball, firecrackers, fireworks, pinwheels, clothing, dressing, food traditions, respect, veneration, auspicious time, folk games, traditional, customary, conventional. So these are some words which go along with the second point in the question. Here is a suggestion. Once again, you may construct a far better paragraph. This is just a sample. Next, at the dawn of the calendar new year, many light firecrackers and have a gala time. Also, some engage in religious activities. For example, Christians have been going to church and the Buddhists have been going to temple and Hindus to Kovi, Hindu temple. Contrastively, many enjoy parties or dances in hotels on the New Year's Eve. Another important act is most Sri Lankans prepare kiribat, milk rice, for breakfast in the New Year. As it implies, it's made from milk and rice. This is a food item we always prepare to mark any auspicious event. Of course, some dress in new clothes, especially those who go to work in the morning. Our next move is to prepare for our final paragraph. Here are some possible words and synonyms we may use. With that, we can build up our next paragraph. Vocabulary para 3. Respect, manner, look up to, value, enjoy, revel, relish, adore, family bonds, relativeness, affinity, empathy, traditional gourmet food, games, activities. So these are some words we can possibly use in our third paragraph. Let's look at this suggestion. You could include more advanced vocabulary to make it even better. Suggested paragraph 3. Furthermore, what I like about the celebrations in April, generally everyone wears new clothing, mainly children, and it is the time to respect elders. Usually, this is done by offering a sheaf of betel leaves and worshipping them. Prior to the ceremonial time, many kinds of sweetmeats are made. Kerum, oil cakes, cookies are the most popular items among many. But again, kiribat is the main food item. Another thing I like about this is everything is scheduled to be done at an auspicious time. For example, cooking, eating, commencing work, and so on. There are specific folk games held as big events, and it is also a ritual to visit relatives. These activities are done over several days. That's our third paragraph. Now, most is done, but we have to have an appropriate closing. So the closing could be ending statement and the ending remark. Hope I did contribute lucratively to your task and eager to hear from you soon. With lots of love. It's quite simple because it's just the ending. Once we have completed writing, our next step is to do the editing. You may take 2 to 3 minutes for this. Now for editing, we have to focus on the assessment criteria. That is task achievement, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and coherence and cohesion. Task achievement is whether we have included the salutation correctly, then of course the opening statement, three body paragraphs, closing statement, and closing remark. Whether we have done all these things appropriately for the particular type of letter, that is informal, semi-formal, formal. Then the lexical resource, mainly the vocabulary and also higher level vocabulary. Then spelling is also important. Grammatical range and accuracy, whether your sentences are adequately complex and whether you have used the correct tenses to communicate what you want to communicate, and of course the punctuation as well. Then finally, the coherence and cohesion. Have you had appropriate linking words? And also whether you have pronouns used to link the sentences. So all these will lead to a good coherence and cohesion mark. So those are the areas that we have to focus on when it comes to editing. In here, we can see our salutation, dear Astrid, and our opening statement. So it is okay. Dear Astrid, thank you for your letter, and I am happy to enrich your assignment with my experiences. That's the opening. The three body paragraphs, we need to start with our key ideas, and it must be included in the topic sentence. You can see that as well. Yes, in this country, New Year celebrations are quite unique and invariably dissimilar to the Western world. Especially moving from one calendar year to another is not considered a very important event in Sri Lanka. Next, at the dawn of the new year, many light firecrackers and have a gala time. Next paragraph. Furthermore, what I like about the celebrations in April, generally everyone wears new clothing, mainly children, and it is the time to respect elders. Next is the closing statement and closing remark. Hope I did contribute lucratively to your task and eager to hear from you soon. With lots of love. Now we look at the balance tree areas to make sure we have covered everything in marking criteria. Lexical resource, that is vocabulary, then the coherence and cohesion, lastly grammatical range and accuracy. Lexical resource, vocabulary is indicated in red. Coherence and cohesion is in blue. And grammatical range and accuracy is in more. Vocabulary, enrich, experiences, unique, invariably, dissimilar, distinguishable. Coherence and cohesion. First of all, what is in more are the grammatical range and accuracy. Next, let's take a look at the second paragraph. There again we can see the three criteria. Same color coding is used here. Vocabulary, don't, engage, religious activities, implies, auspicious event. Then the coherence and cohesion. Next, also, for example, contrastively, another, this. And the grammatical range and accuracy is in more. Finally, the third paragraph. Once again, the color code is the same. Vocabulary, celebrations, sheaf of betel leaves, prior to the ceremonial time, sweetmeats, auspicious time, folk games, ritual, then the coherence and cohesion. Furthermore, this is done, them, another thing. these activities. Grammatical range and accuracy, as usual, is in more. Finally, it is the closing. They are the lexical resource vocabulary, such as contribute lucratively, eager. Those words are there in that. Thank you very much for your patronage. And please subscribe to get more videos to support your journey to a higher band at IELTS examination. You can visit us at our webpage www.ieltsprofirst.com and get more knowledge from our blog page. Good luck to you until we meet again through another video.